science guy.
Inertia.
Bill Nye the science guy. Bill Nye the science guy. Bill Nye the science guy.
Welcome back to another episode of the Brews by the Magic Guy Show. I'm your host, Sean, and today we're playing a list that comes to us from Wesley. Wesley McOwen got 8th place at a Star City Games IQ. I believe the full name of the town is Elkhart, but it's got cut off here. This list is greedy. This list is fun. I actually did, I recorded it. I didn't stream, but I'm happy with it. I've tweaked some things since playing it. Let's go ahead and roll. I grabbed some ticks, so we're going to play it in a competitive modern league. Oh, that's cool. Alright, I've added some new stuff. Interesting. Is it not open? It says league has been completed. It says league has completed. Oh, somebody was telling me that they got rid of the open play. It's down here. I'll have to tell Jade that. Yeah, modern open play is still a thing. Huh. Open play, turning practice. It looks like they added all the stuff in. This also says league has completed. Interesting. I didn't read all the updates, to be perfectly honest with you, chat, so I guess this is where we gotta go for now. Okay. I thought I heard something about them getting rid of the diversification of competitive and friendly or something like that. This might be the beginning of that. Oh, I can't fit it all if I switch. If I do it by color. Well, yeah, we can. Squeeze it in there. Move this up. That's interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and queue. So the deck is terribly greedy. I'm into it. Most of the cards go face, even if some of the modes are dead, with the exception being a couple of cards here and there, like the Paths, but Path is really solid right now. Yeah, with the exception of like Path and Teferi, and maybe Rampage and Risefall, everything else in the deck either has legs and you can attack with, or deals some form of direct damage. Right? You see all the bolts and helixes and counter squall and all these shocks. Just kind of neat. Neat take on mid range. We'll keep this opener. Classic Tar Pit Foundry opener. We're on the draw. This has a nice mix. We could lead on the Tar Pit. Just depends on what they're on. Unless we need to bolt, I'll probably lead on the Tar Pit. Oh, okay. So we get there. Z10 Magic. Do we know anything about what he plays? I feel like I've seen that username before. Or 710 Magic, excuse me. I don't know why I thought that was a Z. Got nothing. All right, so in the dark, what kind of a sideboard plan do we do? I don't really do one in the complete dark. I mean, them mulliganing all the way down to 2 and conceding suggests perhaps Dredge, but I feel like Dredge even would, yeah. I don't think we do any sideboarding. With no information, I think that's foolhardy. I think we just want to run it back. Maybe bring in the surgicals. I feel like he is a Dredge player, but I can't remember. And I did a quick search to see if I could pull up anything on him. Sometimes MTG Bot has like a history on players, but I'm fine going in the blind. Like if this were paper, I'd have completely no idea, right? So why ruin the chance for it to be kind of like paper? Sometimes MotoBot will just tell us little things like that. Oh, they are Dredge. And that would suggest them mulliganing that low. It's funny, I could have sworn I was like, maybe he is Dredge. And he was. Isn't that funny? So we could have brought in the. I thought about just grabbing the angers too, because like sometimes, I mean it's uncommon, but humans can sometimes do that too. I thought at least playing the angers, but anyway. What do I need to dig to win this matchup? Probably Geist. It's like the quickest clock we have. Tazagur is pretty close as well. Rampage is bad, although I could hit the Shriekhorn. Bolt's really bad. We probably bin the Lingering Souls, and we bin... I think the Fairy's going to be really bad too in this particular matchup. We're just never going to want to cast him. It's funny that we had the read though, Charles. That it was Dredge. Awkwardly enough, since I led Foundry, if I want to rampage the Shriekhorn, I mean, it would just be one charge at this point. I think that's... Maybe this should have been binned instead of the Lingering Souls, instead of the Teferi. So they're going to get the Amalgam back. I mean, I can't complain, even though, like... There are a couple other decks that would maybe mulligan that heavily, but like I kind of was getting a read that it was Dredge, but I didn't commit to it, and we're probably dead here with this juicy reunion. That's okay though. We get one more game due to the freebie win. So there's another Amalgam and a Bloodghast coming. Well, there's the Geist. That does change things. So let's go Tar Pit, because we can get basic planes here and not take a billion. I get to bolt one of the Amalgams just to save a little bit of HPs. We slam Geist, and then I have to like draw runner, like bolts into helixes. And we have to clear the way for Geist. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to get there with this creature, especially against something like Dredge or humans. It's really common that it can be blocked, and then it's just like, okay, well, you spent 3 mana to deal potentially 4 damage in the air. It's not great. Right, here comes back that Bloodghast. I mean, we'll have a lot more game next game. Like, we really respect Dredge, as you can see. Purge, Settle, Surgical, Anger. You could even consider Ego. Ego and name Amalgam or Bloodghast. You literally could conceivably run this as well. If there's enough things to cut, we could put those in too. We'll toast one of these. F6 value. That's a fun card to draw. Not useful here. I mean, Lingering Souls is just blocking. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're pretty dead. Oh, actually, there was another Amalgam coming back because he fetched, so lethal. I mean, as a slower deck, we kind of have to lean on these kinds of sideboard cards. So we could feasibly run these, but let's focus on the aces first. Angers, Surgicals, I'll even play the Wreckage and the Purge. I mean, we have paths too. I mean, it's not the worst. I'll cut Bolts first, actually. I don't mind the life gain on the Helix, but we'll probably cut some of them too. Brutality is really bad, although this hits like sideboard cards. I'd rather be hitting... Conflag off of Squall, or ideally we stop. I'm gonna cut this too. Ideally, that gets stopped actually by our. Even though some of these sideboard cards are sorceries, as juicy as it would be to like Teferi into instant speed Anger, I think that's not gonna happen. Staticaster hits both Amalgam, or sorry, hits both Bloodghasts, multiple Bloodghasts, and Narcomoeba. She's actually decent in this matchup if there's room for her. Kolaghan's Command can go as well. Then we start having room to cut like Helixes. I actually don't think I cut the Counter Squalls. Or even Lingering Souls for that matter. But here's where if we want to squeeze in, for example, the two of unmoored ego, we have room for them now. So you can see we kind of transform quite a bit for something like dredge. And that, I mean, that's normal for like a fair deck like ours. We even have room for the one of Teferi if we want him, or we could play more counter spells for Conflag. I think I'll play the Teferi. Well, no, we probably want to be able to counter Conflag. That's tough. We have a lot of 3-drops, as you can see, just in general. So I like to bring in something lower on the curve, even if it's Bolt, just to save life points. Singleton Bolt just to put an Amalgam back in the graveyard is probably correct. And it can always go face. Souls can block. Yeah, I think Souls and Staticaster are fine. Ooh, keep. So Surgical can go after the first threat we see, and then Unmoored can grab the other that we don't Surgical. Couple of lootings. The old polluted Delta Arid Mesa deck, right? What's up, Puddin'? This deck's sweet. Yeah, this is a good hand for Dredge, and we already won game 1 because they scooped. It's hard to justify getting like with Unmoored Ego in my hand, but I want to looting. I can either go Steam Vents, or more likely, because our deck's actually a lot of white, I probably go Blood Crypt here, because then we just need blue. And we can bin the Lingering Souls. I think I'm going to go Blood Crypt. Okay, so we can dump Souls and this extra looting. Snapcaster's a great draw. Pairs really nicely with Surgical. Oh yeah, Puddin'. Let me turn my mic down. I'm sorry, guys. I was probably peeking. That's better. Yeah. Well, it's good to see you. Hope life is going well. So they're going to take the Surgical, but then we can just snap Surgical next turn. Thoughtseize is an interesting sideboard choice. Alright, wife had a doctor. Baby's doing fine. Nice. That's exciting, man. A few of my friends have started their families and stuff. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. Again, I'll say I kind of enjoy just being like, you know, Uncle Sean. Opponent says, "Geez." Not sure what to take. Opponent scoops. We played one game of Magic against our opponent. So they must be with the intent of just trying to grind, right? It's the classic grinder kind of response. All right, good luck and have fun. So if we get white on this Tarn, the sand functions, we'll keep it. We want white anyway for the path. So we'll lead Tar Pit though, even still. So Tar Pit into Tarn. Tarn could get... if we want to be able to animate Tar Pit, this actually should get Godless Shrine. Utopia. We have an extra Brutality to burn. probably something to take here. Okay. We don't want them to know that we're 3-color, or 4-color, excuse me. This Blood Moon should be the end of us. Unless I peel... We have no reason to show them that we're white. We could peel... So here's the thing. I don't necessarily want to reveal too much of what our deck does. However, that bolt keeps us in the game, potentially. Well, let's see. You got 3 threats. I'm going to have 1 bolt. I'll conceal the splash. Yeah, we weren't going to find an out. It's okay. We're ready for Blood Moon post board. Like when we're on the play, Veto works. Wear Tear, Purge. A lot of these cards work. Other than that, there's not like a lot of great cards for us to bring in against like kind of like a Ponza style deck. I mean like Anger answers Kitchen Finks. That's about it. They do go big enough that Stroke is sometimes a good option. They're not all 3-drops, although his build looked like it was a lot of 3-drops. I imagine there's something a little bit bigger in there, but maybe we don't want to play this till we're sure. It is a grind, so like I like this kind of a card. Things that I'm less excited about, I don't really care about Helix. I think Bolt's fine. Path might even be overkill, by the way. Let's kind of plan this out. So yeah, we brought so these can take like Stone Rains and kill like Arbor Elf at the same time. We're bringing some of that back in. I'm actually gonna run the Stroke. They usually have Baloth and such for us to counter with that. Yeah, so do we want more direct damage or do I want to be able to just handle the bigger threats? I think I might just want the damage and just be able to race better. So I might not want to cut my burn actually. Probably still rather have Rampage. They sometimes play walkers. I think I want this configuration. Although Path can be used on ourselves, that's true. That flexibility is nice. Maybe I will cut the Helixes. Yeah, because we get like Path, a Lingering Souls token. If I visit, I get to be called Uncle Sean. That'd be sweet. I've thought about like a long time ago. We thought about like maybe like doing some events or visiting, meeting people in person. Like I did a few paper events with that intention. Looting into Brutality into Geist. And we have a lot of our basics just naturally. We probably can't ask for a better hand against them. Like, we can get our Swamp. Get Swamp here. I'm sure this will look really weird to my opponent for me to just go get Mountain. Like, complete disregard for what they're doing. Although you don't really want to just expose the basics to their Stone Rains, however. Something to think about. Like we might be exposing our Swamp here to Stone Rain. If we can get the Geist on the table, things actually look pretty good for us. Nice, he's playing Pillage. That's sweet. Trinisphere. Okay. Yeah, when their deck doesn't have the acceleration, it just doesn't feel nearly as good. I mean, they'll be scary next game. Don't get me wrong. Like next game, opponent's deck is going to be fierce. Might want to protect the basics here. Actually, though, because of the way I play it, I actually can't even get my Geist on. I might just want to Faithless Looting. Yeah, because I went Swamp Mountain. I can't actually play Geist. Guess we dump these. He probably plays Trinisphere since we've had all basics. We don't really care if he plays Trinisphere. Like we're mid range. I can operate on. Hey, what's up, Jade? I mean, it sucks. The Snapcasters are terribly expensive now with the Trinisphere. Trinisphere is a bit of a nombo with Bloodbraid Elf, though. You don't really want to do that. He's probably going to play... His play actually was probably Tireless Tracker, right? Because, I mean, if you Bloodbraid here, you don't get the other spell. Hey, it's good to see you, Triple the Cheese. How's it going? Like, you don't get that spell. Bloodbraid with the intent of blocking. Okay. If you grab the deck, he may not get the interaction. I think if I was in his shoes, I would have played Tracker with the fetch land. Blood Moon. Get to deal 2. Although I could have also just ignored it and gotten my Snapcaster out. Lingering Souls. Yeah, the flashback, of course, is still affected by the Trinisphere because you're casting a spell. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be much more afraid if they'd gone to the Tracker route. Is this just another Bloodbraid? Sure. Mesa, I can snap remove the Bloodbraid now. How do we want to do it? Rampage? I don't really want to sack the Trinisphere. It's actually helping us here because it's stopping his Bloodbraid Elf. I think I just Brutality the Bloodbraid. But like we're mid range, so like it's not weird for us to get this much mana naturally. So we're playing 4-color Greed mid range. We should lose to the Blood Moon deck, by the way. Like if we beat this, there's no justice, right? Or at least no justice in this game anyway. This match. Like if we get there against the Blood Moon deck, that's pretty crazy. So if they have a fast start, there's nothing I can do to stop them. If they, with the only like release valve being Wear Tear, if they do have a slow start, we can use like Counter Squall and stuff and Celestial Purge to stop Blood Moon. We also have Path, so if we can just get a basic Plains, we can like Path our Snapcasters and stuff to get out from under it. So let's run it back. Yeah, I would assume that we were supposed to lose to the... Well, and then there's an answer, potentially. We're on the draw. This is like the only out I have to the turn 2 Blood Moon when they're on the play. I think I'll keep this with hopes of finding second land, because like this hand finds second land, it's on. We have two draws to find it. Yep, Utopia Sprawl. Here comes the Blood Moon. Now we could hit the Sprawl. I think I'm supposed to hit the Blood Moon instead. Like we could hit Utopia Sprawl here, but I don't actually have another answer to the Blood Moon is the problem. We hope he's just playing a threat here. Oh, okay. Alright. Draw me a land. Didn't get there. I hope he doesn't slam another lock piece. I hope he just plays a threat. They usually like to make sure there's a lock piece in play before they do that. Bloodbraid into Stone Rain. Float. Alright, well, he's got 2 cards left. Come on, lands. We can almost cast this Taziger. Come on, lands. Well, if we were only going to draw 1 land this game, we would have lost anyway. Oh, I should have taken it out maybe, right? Because all we saw was Bloodbraid. This could have been like Helix or something. Arbor. Rabbles. Okay, have to answer this Rabble Master. I guess if I draw White Source, we get to path it. And then we're still hoping to draw another... Oh, okay, there we go. I think because of Taziger, I think I'm supposed to go Godless Shrine. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I mean, it depends on what he does, what I want to fetch. I mean, if he's just going to blow up my land, tracker, oh, that's scary too. Alright, so Godless Shrine, it's going to hurt, but we don't know we're going to hit another land, so I need to make sure I can play Taziger. We'll Path the Rabbles. Yeah, definitely before combat, triple. Definitely before combat. He does, unfortunately. Actually, in response to the tracker, I was supposed to path it because he gets a free clue. That was my bad. We were actually supposed to do it before the tracker entered play. The correctest play. So if we lose because of that, oh well. I feel like we're just losing because I'm on 1 lander against Panza. Oh, that's still a 1. Well, it's turned into a 2-lander at this point, right? We saw Foundry naturally. We did see a Bloodstained. Taziger, probably not good enough to stop this tracker because of my misplay. So if we lose because of that, hey. Yep, Pillage. Yep. We've left in a lot of our 1-drops, though. Like, there's Bolts, there's Lootings. Is Taziger a brick wall for this turn? Looks like the Taziger is a brick wall for this turn. I know, he's going to trade it for but we can't handle the card advantage on it. And it's not like Kessig gives toughness, so... We take 1 point of damage from him, 1 point from the Goblin. Alright, well there's a Bolt. Gonna need a red source. I mean, I did already say that like it would be crazy if our 4-color greed deck beat a mono Blood Moon deck, right? And they can pump quite a lot with this Kessig. I feel like there should be like Inkmoth Nexus over there, right? No, I'm kidding. Be sweet. Classic like Kessig Inkmoth Nexus. This is gonna be 1 big goblin. But yeah, we shouldn't beat. It's awesome that we got to beat Dredge, but like by principle, our deck shouldn't beat the Stone Rain Blood Moon deck, right? I guess it could have mulliganed that opener. We did manage to. The thing though is our 6. A lot of our 6s wouldn't have beaten. Wouldn't have beaten the turn 1 Blood Moon. Like we literally had the 7 that could actually beat the turn 2 Blood Moon. They had the turn 2 Blood Moon, so I think we were perfectly justified in what we kept. The only misplay that 3rd game was that I didn't path before the tracker hit the table, right? But it doesn't look like that extra card they drew mattered anyway. I think they had the Kessig long before they got that extra card. And we shouldn't beat, I mean, if Modern is, a rock, paper, scissors format, I hope that Blood Moon cuts through four-color greed like paper. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point? Why bother playing that card, right? If it's just going to hope to fight like, Dredge. I mean, Tron. It should be able to beat four-color greed. So, fine by me. So we're up against Dredge. We died to Panza. And then you can sit there and run the numbers and say, okay, well, which one gets more play? I would argue that Dredge gets more play. I don't like these one-landers we keep getting. This is a little bit safer. Looting giving us some nice deck manipulation. No idea what my opponent's on. But it's usually pretty safe to bin Lingering Souls. Just because Brutality has more modes, I mean, it doesn't mean that that's correct. We have no idea. Oh, looks like maybe we're happy we bin the path. Without any information, I'm probably gonna Brutality instead of Flashback Souls here. So he's playing the Wumbo Combo deck. Alright, so we're very scared. I'm going to take a Retract. We're playing against SRAMOs. Cheerio. It's unfortunate that we just drew another land. Like I'd love to have a removal spell for SRAM. We have a lot of interaction for this matchup. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're dead the first game if he finds Opal, obviously. Paradise is not Mox Opal. Okay. So we kill him dead. Oh, you know what? If I'd used the fetch, we wouldn't have to exile the Lingering Souls and or the Faithless Looting. But I think deploying the Taziger is what I want to do despite that. If I'd played my fetch, we could have kept one of those two spells, which was very relevant. Looting because I need to dig to more answers to more of their threats. Yep, Pure Seal this time. We should be dead this time. Yep. They just need to find Mox. As a Tron player, you're okay with Blood Moon? As a Blood Moon player, I hope. Oh, so you were both rooting for my opponent. Fair enough. Is that why you guys are here? To see four-color greed to lose to Blood Moons? Oh, they fizzled again? They have 8 cards in their hand. Oh, well, we just drew Bupkiss. He could have slapped all this equipment on the Pure Steel. I would have. It's a free block. Why wouldn't you attach all this stuff to the Pure Steel? It takes like 2 seconds. I would do that. I'd Voltron. It'd have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 toughness right now. I mean, surely we're dead this time. Come on. I interacted with one spell, right? Well, we took a Retract off of the Brutality. We'll be more interactive next game. Don't worry. Like, I get to bring in, not Veto. Do I honestly have a whole lot that works here, honestly. Like, I feel like we're already set up to actually... Oh, Damping Sphere comes in. That's about it. I don't really have a ton for this matchup. They literally... I don't think they can fizzle with the second. Kind of like Storm, like once they have like the second reducer, it's... Well, they can fizzle if they run out of gas, but I mean with double draw engine, they should draw the entire deck. They should mox us. But it's funny how they kind of like slowed down the first couple times, right? We killed Srom and then they had to, you know... Now, if he'd drawn Mox Opal, it would have been a different story. Or he's budget and doesn't have Opal. But surely opponent is playing Opals. Like, you can't... The deck's just not the same without the Mox Opals. It's just not the same deck at all. Fails to find. There it is. I was going to say it's just not the same deck without Opal. But yeah, we're going to do very light sideboarding. I probably just want the Damping Sphere. I probably don't even play Wear Tear. But there's some other things that could change post-board. I mean, like, the veto does hit Retract. Like, if you fail to kill their dude, obviously countering the Retract is very, very reasonable. Can sometimes bottleneck them. I mean, like, they're so specific on what cards they're trying to combo with, too. You can sometimes even just consider Surgical. So they need one of these 4. One of these 8, I mean. A couple games of having like no lands, and then we have an all land game. Things that are weak. Some of our grindier sorcery speed kind of cards, even like Teferi. At least Call Against Command can interact. So those could come out. We do want to play the Damping Sphere because they're a Storm derivative. We want all of our turn 1 interaction. So we want all the paths. 1-man interaction, I mean. So we want all of these. I think Helix is fine too. Like, we just need to answer those guys easily. And I think this is what we do. Out of the board, you could consider like even the Surgicals just because they're so specific. The one trick kind of pony nature of our opponent's deck makes me think that I kind of want some of these pieces. Like, we kill it and then we just take the others. I don't know if I want to do that though. They're kind of a density deck. I might actually just play this and this. They do need a lot of different pieces to go off. Opal is expensive on Magic Online too. Is expensive. So I don't want to keep this even though it's got Path. I mean, if this draws Red Source, these turn on. If this draws Blue Source, these turn on. There's a reasonable chance that this hand is literally just a Path to Exile, though. I'm glad that I mulliganed, I think. I'm probably fetching anyway. Don't really care about that. We're not really interacting on that axis. I mean, sure, it turns off like me being able to burn them directly, but the Flooded Strand, I think we lead... we could lead Steam Vents. Like, my next turn play, I think I'm going to go Crypt. Just due to what fetches we have. I'm going to dump Souls, and I'm going to dump... Not the Snapcaster, that seems crazy. Right? We'll probably find third land before then. Yeah, I'm with you, Triple the Cheese. Like, you can kind of see what decisions, you know, we're making on the other side. Oh. Giver. That's cool. It's an interesting shell for Giver. Um, yeah, I actually could be playing a couple of Horizons cards. I can't borrow them from Card Hoarder just yet, to be perfectly honest. So I think we have to kind of work our way through these givers. So since it says another, you can target the problem is they kind of need this land, right? This might be like serious technology for their deck. Geist. Could play Taziger or we can get the souls out. If I play Taziger, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I think I value the Lingering Souls less than the redraw on the looting in this matchup. Is that crazy? I don't think so. We might be dead here, chat. Because of the tap nature of the tar pit, it's not like I could have snap pathed the paladin, especially with Giver. This is sick. Giver doing some real work in this deck. Oh, and they have Opal this time, so I should be dead. Yep, retract, draw it all again. I'm not even mad. We're a little disadvantaged, right, not having access to the Horizons cards. I mean, we could drop money and buy them. I'd rather personally, I'd rather wait for Card Hoarder to give the okay for us to borrow them. Future Sight is only 4 pennies. Oh, I'm sure there's like a couple of cards I wouldn't mind just buying that might be fun to brew around that are cheap, like Bear Force, or not Bear Force. Well, yeah, Bear Force 1, the Seismic Bears. I should be dead. So what did we die to? We died to Cheerios. We died to Blood Moon deck. Those make sense. We beat Dredge though. I'm into it. This makes me happy. I'm excited. I'm surprised we're not seeing more Modern Horizons decks to play against. Like this is just legit the first one we've seen. I mean, maybe some of our other opponents had sideboard cards from it. It's exciting. Maybe we should look into the price on some of these cards and see if we can buy some tonight and maybe mess around with something. Unfortunately, it's already 9:43 for me, and I was going to go to bed at 10:30, so we aren't even going to finish this league. But I did want to get this deck going. Kill us already. So do we like how we sideboarded? Yeah, I don't think any of these other cards would have been relevant. This is where like Stony Silence, of course, would be nice because it would have turned off the opals at least. $35 Storm. No, it's here and it's here now. We can do that silly cheat. Well, I doubt it's cheap. I was gonna look up the price to the cheat planeswalkers into play guy, which might be fun to brew around. Oh, okay. He's found it. All right. Just grabbing this. Maybe there's something we can mess around here. Like the cards off the top of my list that I wanted to brew around were Goblin Engineer, and Planebound Accomplice were a couple I wanted to do. Goblin Engineer. Oh, they don't even have it priced in yet. So that person legit. I mean, there's got to be a couple of sites on Moto that are selling these cards. Yeah, they're not on here yet. Really? All cards. Yeah, it looks like it's not updated with it yet. I mean, they'll get it updated. GoatBot has them. Oh, I mean, I doubt the Goblin Engineer is. So we're fighting for our tournament life now. Dying to. I mean, I would imagine we died to Blood Moon deck. It's sad that we died to Cheerios because, like, I feel like we're actually pretty interactive with a deck like them with 4 bolts and 4 paths. I feel like that was just kind of one of those we were blindsided by them, and then I couldn't really find like we died game 1 just keeping a grindy hand, and then game 2 I just didn't have enough removal to play through the Mother of Runes, Stepmother of Runes. No, I appreciate you, Jade. I'm taking a peek. I'm taking a look at the goat bots. So they want to sell them for 2 tickets. Here we go. All right, so we can look at the pricing. Yeah, some of these are really cheap. We could brew around with Bear Force. It looks like they're super cheap. Oh, you know what? We did already play against Pillage, so that's the second. Ooh, I don't know if I keep this. Well, we'll try it. We did play against Pillage tonight. Yeah, thanks for showing this to me, Jade. I'm gonna look through it, thinking about the potential. It takes Geist. Okay. Yeah, they are pretty cheap. I'm just looking around in here, trying to see. So Thoughtseize. I'm with you, opponent. I mean, they're obviously Mardu Pyromancer. Kaya's Guile is cheaper than I thought it would be. I think this card's sweet. I was thinking about Guile for even a deck like this, just because it's so flexible. Actually, I was supposed to play the Tar Pit. I mean, the Scalding Tarn gives us access to like Helix and stuff, though. There are a Blood Moon deck, though. So another hand is Fatal Push. Hey, what's up, Arthur? We were just thinking about... Jade sent me a really nice link for thinking about... Yeah, like Guile. Guile is sweet. Guy's Guile. Yeah, there's some cool stuff to brew around in here. Like, if I can find him. This one. Oh, super cheap, too. Well, not really. Not as cheap as I was hoping he'd be. Ooh, okay. This guy's playing seasoned. I mean, to stop the second ability on it, we would want to path it. We know that this is getting fatal pushed, so I think I just kick it back. Buy a box Tezzeret self-assembler, more fun. You're always working on something, Arthur. I'm uncomfortable having so few red sources, but I don't think this Tar Pit's getting through with just a counter squall to back it up, right? Like, many turns ago, off of our Brutality, which is like one of the first plays I even made, I think it was our first play, we saw a fatal push back then. So it's pretty reasonable to think that's gonna die. Yeah, we're starved on what? Red? Yeah. So I want to Helix this Confidant, but we're starved on both red and white. Which, awkwardly enough, our deck is pretty... we know this is answered. I mean, the Tar Pit, I mean. So we're not going to animate one. I think that's foolish. Counter Squall could at least protect Teferi from hand hate, which is what happens. He ditched a Dreadbore, which makes me think Teferi is going to be good to go. Geist. So we can't do both, can we? Actually, we can. Nice. Sue. Oh, this is where we want to be. Teferi will turn off the Fatal Push on the Tar Pit. So I assume he's a Blood Moon deck. We know Purge is good already anyway. He's going wide. This also answers the Pyromancer nicely. Like both sides of it. The new Pyromancer. Helix we probably don't need. That's probably overkill. That was sweet. We just ground him out. Staticaster. We have to assume there's Blood Moon over there, right? Let's play the Wear Tear over. I don't think I want to be sitting on counter magic in this matchup. I think I'd rather just have the Helix. I think I still like the Brutality. Right? We need to hit Pyromancer. We need to hit Confidant. Interesting game that we still got there. Interesting. What about Maverick with new Mother Runes? Maybe. There's a lot of new toys to think about. What about doing like a Tectonic Reformation and then the new Astral Slide? Be sweet. Got it. We'll build like stock blue white, but like stick in things like Fact or something bad like Splicers. All right. Yeah, we'll play this. This hand's grindy. A little soft to Blood Moon. I mean, we can get Island here, Mountain here. We can get. As far as basics are concerned, Plains, Swamp, Island could be what we get. But then that means no Mountain. Back on the Tectonic. Oh. You're talking about this Tectonic. Alright. If I was to be cut on a color, what color would I be okay being cut on? That is the question. I don't want to take a ton of damage, though. Oh, wow. Could be Tasigur next turn for us. Oh, Splendid Reclamation. You were trying to brew around Splendid for a while. The card is pretty cool. It's like a reverse scape shift, or well, it's hard to dumb the card down to something like that. Actually, I should have sequenced this a little bit differently. Yeah, exactly. It's something that makes Valakut do the thing. Maybe I should have delved away some of these other things we don't really want to return with Tasigur, but like we're so far away from blue. Like I'm not really thinking about that mode on the Tasigur at this point, right? Blood Moon. Oh, Lily. I think I'm supposed to Lingering Souls. Sucks in the face of Lily. We could also do the Rise Fall. Ooh. Not bad. Not bad. The thing about playing Lingering Souls there is, sure, he might pick off a token, but then the Taziger's big enough to just kill her. I kind of want to fire off this Anger first. Oh, is this Bolt Bolt? Oh, they're on no cards. I think just because they're a Blood Moon deck, I still get the basic planes. Especially with field out there, like what's the point of getting... I guess like we could get the flooded or Hallowed Fountain there, but like what's it going to do for us? Okay, this is a much better answer than just playing Souls. That seems awful. But yeah, exactly. It enables you doing the things, the broken things, which is certainly what we want to be doing, right? All right, Souls go. Blue really is our splash, right? It's for Geist, Snap, and Cyborg cards, basically. That's a Bolt. Yeah, it's freaking Seasoned Pyromancer. These are going to start coming back, by the way. He might take Anger since he's going to have double Seasoned Pyromancer tokens. Oh, he takes the Purge. Interesting. I don't have second red source yet for Anger anyway. Well, now I do. So that's the thing. Do we want to flashback or do we want... I feel like I'm just supposed to Faithless Looting flashback actually. Settle. Probably going to dump this. I know it's kind of weird to keep Anger even though I just pitched a land that could get us to cast Anger. Yep. See, I feel like you take Anger there though, because right, I'm probably more likely close to Anger instead of... Okay, well, we drew Mesa. K command, cool. So yeah, land gets him to these Pyromancers. Confidant. So unfortunately, I can only do one or the other. I can't do both the things that I want to do here. Probably just get back Taziger actually instead of the Snapcaster. With Anger in my hand, I probably want to get Steamy. Actually, that was a mistake, because I need a second black source if I wanted to replay the... Yeah, that's my bad. That's okay, he'll field us when we go get the island. We'll have blue anyway, and then we can cast Taziger next turn. I was supposed to get a black source there. But I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, we could just get back the Snapcaster. Now that I've kind of blundered the potential play of getting him back. They can't keep us off blue unless they draw literal Blood Moon. I'm going to go greedy. I'm going to get the Snapcaster. It probably is Taziger, but I'm going to grab the Snapcaster. Oh, well, he had a Thoughtseize anyway. Like, I don't really want to do this play because I keep thinking he's going to hit that land and then we're going to be facing these. Although then again, I don't have the second red for Anger anyway, so maybe I'm supposed to deploy both halves. Maybe I'm playing too conservatively. Oof. That's sick. Gets the Unearth. And what's nice about it is the discard happens first, then the draw two, so it is a combo for Pyromancer. That's sick. I'm not even mad. Okay, so but that was a good draw for us here. So we can clean him up, and then we can souls. That was sick. That's really, really cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, because you discard the cards first, then you draw two. I like this. I like that. I like that a lot, chat. Yeah, this guy's just like mono pyromancers. Oh, he's on 5 lands now, so we can start exiling these, getting dudes. Okay, snap. Okay, so snap gives me some options. It might just be rise fall. Snap rise fall, return the snap. Play Taziger. Oh, okay. Kill Liliana, see if that happens. His hand could be like a fatal push. So kill Lily. Second main snap, rise fall. Get back Taziger? I think it's Taziger. Could also just get the other Snapcaster. I think we just want the big dude just to close this out. Plus we also get to deploy him immediately. What is something that I wouldn't want? I guess this settle. Actually, I could cast settle though if he gave it back to us, but he can play around it. That kind of loses its effectiveness. Most of the other cards play. Just because we have second blue, need to think about the flashback. Oh, okay, so he gets to take it. This is him flashing back Pyromancer. I mean, exiling Pyromancer. Well, you know what? We get to activate Taziger, and you got to give us a card back, good sir. Or we can just path that. Opponent's deck is cool and innovative, but I guess we're greedier. But that was cool. Unearth plus Pyromancer seems really sweet. All right. It's 10. We'll save the conclusion of this greedy list for next stream, which should be this weekend. I don't think. Well, I may stream late Friday if I see you guys at all. Let me go ahead and host over to another streamer. But this has been Four Color Greed, brought to you by Wesley. What's his last name? I want to make sure I get it right. This list comes to us from Wesley McOwen, who got 8th place at a recent Star City Games IQ. That's where I pulled the list from, or at least the initial shell. I made some tweaks to it, and I'm relatively happy with. Deck's greedy, but it is sweet. Thanks, Jade. Don't go away, guys. I'm going to find us another Magic the Gathering Online streamer to send you over to. Hopefully there's something cool going on. Jarvis Yu is doing some Horizons draft. A lot of these guys are doing Horizons draft. I mean, it is the new thing. It is the new thing to do tonight. Before I do that, I feel like I'd want to... There's a new... let's see, what is it? I was going to use it for Cube, and I forgot to set it up, but there's a new... relatively new plugin for Magic Online drafting. So I think that actually be really cool to use before I did something like that. Am I modern? lots and lots and lots of... I do think the first deck we're going to do was the Trash for Treasure. Just as far as like decks that we actually fleshed out for Horizons. The Horizons update. What did we call it though? There's the mid-range. I think I just called it Goblin Engineer. Aha! Now we can update this with the right engineer. Oh, I decided on staff, by the way. I was going to run... remember how when I first built this one for you guys, I was thinking we were going to play... I mean, if that's the only card I'm away from for this deck, we could play it maybe next stream. I'd rather get the cards from Card Hoarder versus like investing in Engineer because I'm not sure about the card just yet. But it looks something like this. Simians are part of the mana base. Put all our mana base and zeros over here. But yeah, so like the original build we'd worked on. Hey, what's up, Partrap? So the original deck that we conceived was, and then I'll split this into what's Karn board and what's not. It's pretty obvious what's Karn board. It's gonna be the artifacts. So we were gonna play a couple of like Sphinxes and stuff, like Inkwell Leviathan, Sphinx, other big stupid stuff. The cool thing about Empyrean and Staff being our Trash for Treasure targets is in a pinch we can hardcast these. But the benefit... Oh, this is what it does, Partrap. I got you. When it enters the battlefield, we may search our library for an artifact card, put it into our graveyard, then shuffle. He also has the ability to, for a red and tap, sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact card with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So basically, the premise was we're kind of like a Stompy, like a Moon Stompy deck, but we also get to do cool grindy things. Obviously, Goblin Engineer doesn't really have much synergy for Chalice other than like extra chalices we draw, we can turn into something else. But he has the ability to search up these main board bullets like Bridge or Trinisphere or Crypt. Those hit a lot of the decks in the format, to be perfectly honest. Like in the main deck, Engineer just being here to either set up Trash for Treasure for one of these powerful things, or to grab this or these, or to just, quite frankly, like I wanted another card advantage engine. So the card advantage engines we're playing, we've got a Trash for Treasure one. I decided on Staff. There's plenty of Planeswalkers right now. There are other like artifacts we could put in this slot that accrue value and get us cards that are castable in mono red. But I thought this might actually be a classic pick, so I was going to try it out. We also, Goblin Engineer can go get coding for Karn, which is kind of neat. So like the turn that we go to Karn, we could engineer this into play Karn plus Karn immediately instead of minusing Karn first, then plussing him. So just little things like that we were thinking. It's not completely it's not perfect, right? We just kind of slapped it together, but I tweaked it after the stream a little bit and added in some spice. Oh, we're also playing Cave because we can. Engineer looks good. I don't think it's a 4 of. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is like a 3 of. I thought that the Trash for Treasure wasn't a 4 of because every single Trash for Treasure we play pretty much has to see Engineer because this isn't like a Faithless Looting deck or anything like that. So like the ratio might be like if this isn't a 4 of, if we're only going to play 3 Engineers, then we only play like maybe 1 or 2 Trash for Treasure. Then I feel bad wasting slots on these. So like I think because of the Trash for Treasure plan, the first iteration of the deck Partrap, I probably want to play the playset of Engineer. You also have to think about the fact that the first Engineer probably dies. And it's the second one that actually assembles double Wellspring, or the second one that actually can get the bridge back that the first one tutored for. But anyway, I hear you. I'm not gonna disagree with you. I think for the first build, just so we can like see it more often, just to test, I probably want to play the playset. But I mean, we've constructed the deck in such a way that it's really built around engineer, right? Like engineer is a pivotal piece for bringing together not only he brings together this trash for treasure package, but he also is like an extension of the Karn package, at least for bridges, Trinisphere, and Crypt. These are like an extension of the Karns for just specifically these pieces, right? These are all things that Karn can get too. Deck seems to be lacking threats. I don't disagree. We could play like Chandra. Chandra's a good fill for mono red. She's kind of a jack of all trades, removal, advantage, ramps us to some of these big silly plays. I could get behind trying to squeeze in like a main deck Chandra or two. And then that frees up another sideboard slot. I mean, as far as humans is concerned, I'd like to have a variety of sweepers. What's the one that's got cycling? Sweltering. Like anger, of course, being the strongest, but it's kind of nice to have a variety of the different named sweepers for like humans. Well, but that's prison for you, Partrap. I don't disagree with your assessment. We don't necessarily need the main deck crypt. It's nice for engineer to be able to go get that, like to turn this into a tutor target, but it's not necessary. Also, technically, we don't need double Wellspring, right? This was kind of like a filler card we were considering. Because, like, okay, so you have an engineer, you go get Wellspring, sacrifice Wellspring to go get other Wellspring. It doesn't exactly work that way, right? So the engineer, if literally none of my other targets are relevant, engineer for Wellspring, we draw a card. Engineer cracks the Wellspring to get back the other card we sacrificed in the first place to get. I feel like we don't need two of these. Actually, come to think of it, don't we just need the one? It's a little slower because if you're just looping these, obviously it's going to draw cards faster. But I might be fine with every other turn drawing an extra card off this, right? And it's a draw two once you do get it back into play, right? Because you get it back in and then you crack it again, right? So maybe we just want one, just as like when literally none of the other cards work. Like when none of the other tutor targets for the engineers, so that could be coding, Wellspring, Trinisphere, Bridge, Crypt. Like when those other pieces aren't relevant, being able to go get this and add a little bit of value to the things we're returning is kind of nice. But not necessary. That's just kind of a flex card to test, really. So that lets us main deck the Chandra. Well, this is actually pretty much the same shell that you see a lot of the more prison-esque style mono reds playing part trap. This isn't actually out of the ordinary. I also like Pia and Kieran Nalar. Hang on. Actually, really like Pia and Kieran Nalar in these decks. And then we can cut like one of the Karn board cards that we don't really need. One of these is probably not necessary. Like this. Torpor Orb's pretty good right now. I like having a Spyglass. This. Probably cut the Ratchet Bomb. It's a little slow for what it does. Yeah, I just happen to like Mom Pop Thopter Shop, especially when they're good. Or especially post board is what I mean to say. Like when we know that they're relevant for the matchup, it's a very, very good card to bring in. Especially since I can like crack Citadels, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I could pick up maybe before next stream. It's possible I could grab Engineers and then I'll just order the rest from. Yeah, I mean everything else isn't new cards, right? I mean it's literally just Engineer. So this would be like a fun deck to play. For those of you that are curious about the Planebound Accomplice deck I was thinking about, it'd be like an Oath of Nissa kind of thing, maybe, deck. But what is it? I think you play Venser, was what we were thinking. Because Venser comes in, and you can either have Venser keep himself, or you can use Venser to keep something like 8-mana Bolus or whatever you want to throw in here. Like, you could play Ugin, whatever. That would be something that Jade, you would probably really like, trying to brew with Accomplice. Yeah, Venser is the kind of the unlock to that card. We'll save this one. I'll put this in the chat in case you guys want to play it. The Goblin Engineer deck. I do not take credit for this though, just because so much of this deck is based on like the stock. Oh, you plan to? Yeah, I was gonna say, Jade, that's something you and I could work on. If you have an initial build, let me see. I'd love to brew with you on that. They added new deck boxes too. See, we could play like Nissa box. See. Just to make it easy to find these lists, I'll probably just name them what their new card is. Accomplice. But you know, something like Accomplice, it would probably be an Oath of Nissa deck. Probably. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna actually fully flesh this out tonight since it's already almost 10:30. But it would probably be an Oath of Nissa deck. You want Accomplices and you want Vensers, and then from there, I mean, you could really pretty much build it any way that you want. You probably want Planeswalkers that are really, really impactful. Like, you probably would want a mix, right? You would want a mix of, like, Venser's the obvious because he's the only walker that really does kind of the wombo. So yeah, you put him into play and then he can +2. And you either get to keep either you use him to keep himself, and then next turn you do it again and you go get like Bolus or something, or you can cheat him and something else out. I mean, I thought about rituals and stuff, but I feel like it would be like a Utopia Sprawl kind of deck. Why don't you just play it as Tron? What if we played it as red-green Tron? That's not what I had in mind, but I mean, you'd probably want like Ugin, 6-mana Chandra. I'm trying to think about which suite of Planeswalkers you'd play. Yeah, you'd probably play Ugins. You'd probably play big mana Bolus. I mean, I just don't know. Like, the thing is at some point, like, some of these have to be cast though, right? So maybe we should be a Tron deck with Oath. Like, Oath style Tron is something that you tried way back when, isn't it, Melfina? It would probably be Bolus, Planeswalker, like classic 8-mana Bolus. But maybe you play like Karn, maybe you play what was I thinking? 6-mana Chandra. Could just be Green Ramp. Yeah, like Green Ramp, or not this one. I'm thinking of the one that's got a built-in sweep the board. Chandra. Not this one either. Yeah, Flamecaller. Honestly, you should play 5-mana Bolus. should be playing Dragon God. You have to dedicate like 40 cards just to the Tron. Yeah, I'd rather just like maybe play it like Oath of Nissa, Utopia Sprawl style. Or even like just like ritualing out the accomplice could be fun. I feel like you'd rather want Utopia Sprawl because Utopia Sprawl does twofold. It's going to give us fixing for like having all these greedy different colors. It's a good question. Maybe we should be playing Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Nicol Bolas Dragon God, of course, when comboed with Venser. Oh, interesting. Now I kind of see what you were thinking, Partrap. If we cheated into play Nicol Bolas and Venser, Venser blinks Bolas, Bolas blinks Venser, or they each blink themselves, we get to keep both? That's stupid. I didn't even think about doing that. Yeah. Bolas gets Venser's +2. Use the +2 on themselves. Like, you get to keep both. Obviously, we have to create 5 mana, though, right? Planebound +2 more red mana. That seems sweet. But you definitely want Oath to be able to cast all these different things. Like Oath being our color fixing for piecing together all these different colored planeswalkers. Right? I mean, we literally got every single color in the book here. Right? We got black, blue, red, white. No green walkers, but like this is green. I don't know. I don't know. Other than that, I'm not sure what you would do with it. Could look into like other janky stuff that's specific to planeswalkers. Isn't there like a land that has to do with planeswalkers that got recently printed? Like you gain life when you cast walkers. Well, we're not casting them here though. They've like printed a few different cards that would be good in like a very yeah. Spend this only to cast walkers. Gain life. Yeah, I don't know exactly how else you would. Like maybe you'd want 3 mana to fairy so it's harder for them to interact with what we're doing. I don't know. What about doubling season? Yeah, like doubling season would be like then you just do like the whole Emrakul Jace plan. And that might be the better build anyway because like whereas Venser's trying to like keep stuff. Right, we could just play the walkers that theoretically win on the spot. You could just instant ult. Infinite? What's infinite? Yeah, I think you can like a build that's trying to keep the walker is interesting, but like a doubling season build is interesting too. That's something that's already been explored in the past, right? Like a, I've seen season decks before, doubling season decks. I don't even know what version we'd play. I don't even know. All right, but yeah, so like doubling season style, and then like this one plays Emrakul, and you play Nahiri and Jace. I think there's a couple other Planeswalker ultimates that would be worth kind of sneak and showing into play. Play like 2 Emmys. Like Nahiri and Jace are the obvious ones. What about Tamio? Tamio does it too. Field Researcher. Jace plus New Bolus is also a win. Hey, that's another way we could go, right? Or did I cut them or did I move them to the side? I moved them over. Yeah, 3 mana Jace. Yeah, Castaway, right? It's basically an Omniscience. That's an interesting idea. Castaway. Field Researcher. Oh yeah, that is pretty insane. Although these just immediately win, but yes, this probably equates to a win. Lets you cast the Emmys. So if we're making infinite Bolus copies, when do they actually die though? Not till next turn, right? I guess the next turn you just +1 all the Boluses and they exile everything that they have in play and they exile all their cards in their hand. That's interesting. I mean, there's a couple different ways we could explore this, right? So there's like a doubling season potential nonsense. There's Partrap's idea where we do like Jace, Bolus, and then this makes infinite boluses. But like, okay, so let's say we cheat these both in, right? So this is no Venser, none of this other stuff. So, okay, so we cheat these both in, and we proceed to make lots and lots of copies, right? But doesn't the Jace Cunning Castaway have to be at 5 loyalty? Yeah. Because he's only got 4 loyalty. No, you ult the Bolus using Jace's ability. I still don't see it because this is a -5. Bolus comes in with 4 loyalty. Is there something I'm missing, chat? Yeah, and Bolus does not start with 5. It's okay, we'll put it in the think pile. Still kind of like the idea of just keeping the Planeswalkers, but I mean, we could even go just like straight jank, which is could play like Sundial of the Infinite, just like really bad stuff like that. It's another way to keep the big silly things we're cheating out with Accomplice. I mean, between Sundial and Venser, we'll probably have a piece. Now, here's the thing. Okay, BrewSpy, what about the games where you don't draw the Accomplice? This build also just seems really, really bad, right? I would agree with you. It's just this is just a fun jank deck to brew regardless. Like whether you go this route or this route or the Venser route, like it's jank no matter how you spin it. It's where Arbor and Sprawl has to come into play. I don't know if I like Arbor all that much. I feel like a lot of the time it just dies. Also, Sprawl is fixing. I kind of feel like I like Utopia, but I mean, like, it's hard to justify not playing Arbor if you're gonna play Sprawl. It's hard. That's true. That's tough. 'Cause I mean, you're already a forest-based deck. We probably wouldn't play these. It's probably not worth the life gain. And these are only when you're casting the walkers, right? So Accomplice doesn't trigger the life gain. Alright, when I play this, I usually go mana heavy. So it's kind of inevitable that you have to consider the elves. Alright. Ooh. You guys know how I feel about watermarks. So you got your elves, you got your sprawls, and then we have like cheaty face ways to do the planeswalkers, or we can just cast them. And I mean, like, the hard part I think of the deck is figuring out, okay, so if Accomplice like achieves, like, again, like, I feel like Venser is still the piece. Like, sure, we can like try to live the dream of pairing Venser with a Nicol Bolas and keep them both, but in order for me to really like this guy, like, we need to also have the Venser, we need to also have the Accomplice on a draw. So I feel like maybe this is not what we want to be doing. Maybe we just rather have a nice mix of planeswalkers. And maybe we blend this into a doubling season deck anyway, because like a lot of these walkers, we could change up what mix we're doing. Like maybe we still make it a doubling season deck. Nicol Bolas is good with any other walker though. I mean, he just gets their abilities. It's not bad, or it's not so much that it's bad or good. I mean, it is just a really powerful 5-mana walker. Oath of Teferi. I saw Oath of Teferi as a one-of in a blue-white control player we faced the other night. Yeah, ask away, Boosh. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw somebody brewing around with it. It's too bad Oath of Chandra hits opponents and not like anything. This card probably would have actually seen play if it would have. I mean, maybe you even play like a Johnny, the one that top Planeswalker. There's the green white of Johnny that lets you yeah, green white of Johnny has a plus that's relevant for Planeswalkers. This one. Top 3 all non-land. I thought there was one that literally said specifically Planeswalker. No, I guess it was unyielding. Oh no, it's this one. But like unyielding is still way stronger than Mentor. Like for 1 mana, you get a +2. The -2 is Swords to Plowshares. Yeah. Yeah, Mentor of Heroes. Well, I feel like unyielding is still better though. So this is top 3. This one is top 4. But this one you get all non-land permanents. They were going for very similar design on these, obviously. I don't know. Something to think about. My problem is this is clearly just a support planeswalker. Not that's a bad thing. I mean, like, Venser is clearly also support. Like, we're just literally interested in his +2. But like something janky like this would be fun to build. It wouldn't be good, you know. I mean, if we wanted to pick like a card, like in my mind, like cards that could actually create strong decks. I mean, like my buddy was gonna build Dirty Kitty because Goblin Matron got printed. Um, for those of you that don't get that reference, that's the original name of the Fecundity Goblins deck. I mean, now if we wanted to build something competitive that maybe some other players aren't necessarily thinking about, it would be Goblin Storm, Dirty Kitty. I'm gonna mention Patrick in there, my buddy Patrick. Like that would actually be like the thing to do. Oh, there's no goblin. They added all these new deck boxes, and none of them. They didn't make a Duretti Spaghetti Planeswalker box for us. No, no, no. So there is, Jade. I was going to show you. You weren't here earlier. Um, Modern Open Play, best of one. Modern Tournament Practice. They're down here. They just changed the name of it. Modern Open Play. See? Modern Tournament Practice. No, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm with you. Yeah, they did do away with the just for fun. Because clearly, magic is not just for fun. Oh, interesting. Legit Momir. Oh my gosh. Mormir takes 2 tickets now? Dang. Actually, maybe that's been a thing for a while. I just haven't looked into Momir on here in a while. But yeah, like other things that come to mind. Remember the Gitrog Frog combo that we were doing? Except it was hard because it was 3 colors. Now you could do a 2-color version. So like that's another thing that I'd be interested in. Although it wouldn't immediately kill them, it would just make infinite bears. But I think that's a small price to pay for cleaner mana. Could even be a Field of Ruin deck, although the triple green is kind of awkward with something like Field. But that'd be kind of fun to brew. I mean, I'm sure people are already thinking about Dirty Kitty. Probably not a lot of people are thinking about our Gitrog Frog combo. Well, let's put this together first. Goblin, Matron, and Fecundity. But yeah, so you get Matron in Modern now. And then you get to play Fecundity, if I'm spelling it right. So you use Fecundity. And then the rest of the deck is just like Prospector, the new, this guy, Panchalak. So you play Prospectors, new Panchalak Mons. Oh, Pash. So you play him, maybe like 2. Maybe you only want the 1 of just because it's a kill condition. And where we go from there? Goblin. Or not, Mog. You want more marshals because those are your rituals. Is this going to be actual legacy? No, these are all legal and modern now. Well, these have been. Fecundity, Prospector almost made the deck work, but you kind of need Matron just to give you the consistency. I think it's hyphen Marshall. Oh, that's a space. Okay. We can go with a classic. I thought I saw it. So, yeah, so you got War Marshals, you've got Fecundity. So kind of how this all weirdly comes together is that the Prospectors have the ability to sack goblins for red mana. Marshal comes in, gives you a goblin, is a goblin, and then if you sacrifice him, you get another goblin. So it's literally Goblin Ritual when paired with this. Then you have your tutor. Fecundity says, of course, whenever a creature dies, that creature's controller may draw a card. So you're kind of like a slightly less aggressive Goblins deck, but you also have this infinite combo kind of tucked away in your pocket. Other than that, you play like, Ancient Grudges and stuff out of the board. You can play, if you want to, you can play bolts and or goblin grenades and stuff. But the new printings of Matron and Pashalak should just make the deck a lot more consistent. Pashalak gives a kill that the deck didn't have before, because usually back in the day, Dirty Kitty would kill with Goblin Sniper, according to my buddy Patrick. So now you've got this, and this, of course, like as you go through the combo, you kill them, because whenever Mons or another Goblin dies, you can deal 1 damage to any target. So you just get to throw your whole deck at them. There's more to it. There's more cards to the combo than that, of course. Like these are the key pieces, like Ritual, mana maker, tutor, kill. So, and then of course draw engine. So your draw engine, your rituals, like it's also your sacrifice engine for this to work, and then of course your tutors. It's like these, of course, once you're making tons of mana, like these, go get more of these. And it's mana neutral, which is really important. Let me say that again. So you get 3 mana off of every War Marshal that you sack, and you get draw 3. But also, if you hit a Matron, Matron can just become War Marshal. War Marshal gives you 3 mana, gives you 3 cards. If Mons is in play at this point, you deal 3 damage, and then rinse and repeat. Matron becomes a War Marshal. War Marshal gives us enough mana and enough draw to hopefully hit either another War Marshal or Matron. Matron goes and get so you just kind of loop. Like that's the benefit. That's why the combo, of course, was a lot more consistent back in the day, because you can just kind of loop these until they die. This deck is a quality meme. This deck is like a classic meme. Dirty Kitty is a really old combo, right? I mean, this is Urza Saga, Fecundity. These are old school. But anyway, yeah, so you could play that combo in Modern now if you wanted to. What's that other combo we were just looking into? Oh yeah, I was gonna show you the Gitrog Frog Bears deck. Let's make a new deck. These are just like little ideas I'm throwing around. Bear Force Gitrog. I have no idea what we're going to call it, but for now, we'll call it that for now. But yeah, so you play the new Seismic, right? So we play Influence. We play Gitrog Frog. Other than that, it's I imagine the deck would be pretty straightforward. I don't know how many of these you'd run. Do you play 3? Do you play 4? Gitrog Monster. And there's one more piece, right? So I'm sure you're like, okay, Bruce, but hang on, what's the combo? How does this make infinite bears? It doesn't. It's not actually infinite. You play Dakmor. So Dakmor Salvage plus. So, and again, I don't know how many salvages you play. I don't know how many monsters you play, how many Ayula's influences you play. But let me just explain the combo, because it's kind of confusing. So you have influence, right? So that says if we discard a land card, we get to make a bear. Okay, great. You have Gitrog Monster. The important thing on the monster is whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. Then we got to talk about Dredge and the fact that this is a Dredge land. So this gets a little bit confusing, but you only need one of each of the pieces, right? You need, one of this, one of this, one of this. So the salvage is interesting. The way that it interacts with monster and then a free discard a land card pitch. So we used to try to do this combo with seismic assault. It was a bit rough on the colors. This is slightly easier on our colors. Um, Albeit we'll have to play like some filter lands to make up for the salvages, but we need more memes. Realms Uncharted. Hey, what's up, Shade? So the Gitrog, you this is where it gets a little confusing. So you have salvage in your hand. You ditch the salvage to the influence. This is now in our graveyard. We get a monster trigger, right? Gitrog Frog triggers. And instead of drawing, you dredge. This will put this back in my hand, and then I can pitch it to the influence, right? So we get this back in our hand. I discard it to this. Gitrog trigger happens. It goes back to my hand. I pitch to this. This enters the graveyard. Gitrog monster gets a trigger. We dredge it, goes back to our hand. Then we make another bear. Then we get the trigger. Then it goes back to my hand because we dredge it. So you can't go completely infinite. And the reason is unless you play like something like Eldrazi, like Emrakul or whatever, eventually we deck ourselves, right? But you've probably made more than enough bears to win, right? I solved how to make this kill the turn it happens. Okay. I mean, the thing is, though, I'd also kind of want to build this as like the green black X decks that are like currently what cards are working for them, except we just have big frogs at our top end. Mana base changes a little bit, and then we play the influence. And then other than that, I'd probably want the deck to just be like trophies and Thoughtseizes and stuff. Just like good cards. Dread Returns banned, yeah. No, you don't need to kill that turn. You do this in their end step part trap. Like you slam monster and you say go. During their end step, make a bunch of bears and then you hit them. It doesn't need to. That's the thing, is that was the issue with the Jund version. Although the Jund version was sweet, right? So the Jund version, of course, was just seismic assault. It's just it was really tough on it was just really tough on our mana base, right? To have triple red and then like, so this would be a little bit easier. You play like Twilight Myers. Depending on how many salvages you play, you might even play multiple Mire. That's a little awkward to do, but might make sense. And then from there, we might do some research and look at what a lot of the top black-green X, or just straight up just rock, right? Like what the latest successful rock decks look like, and basically strip out some of their greedier cards, or what we perceive as being greedier, the greediest cards. And then there's a reasonable amount of people playing rock right now, right? Yeah. So like we kind of strip it down and say, okay, well, like what are the flex cards? What are the cards that we could get away without having? Like these are probably pretty mandatory. Our interactive spells. We could cut some of the grind. We could cut some of the cuteness. Although I actually think Vraska's pretty sweet, by the way. People are kind of learning how sweet that she is, and you can use her to crack. You can sacrifice confidants when you don't want them anymore. So there's cool things that card does. And like a lot of those cards could just go into the sideboard. But we could do some research and see which of these lists was. Some of these choices are pretty stock. I mean, this is a second place at an IQ. There's some 5-0s, plenty of 6-1. I would look at this list, this Modern Challenge list. Like there's a 6-1, 6-2. So like we could do some research and see okay, well, like maybe we look at this one. So there's a lot of similarities, right? So if there's not a lot of cards that are changing up, it's very easy for us to just say, okay, well, this guy wasn't playing Kitchen Finks though. But anyway, not a lot of variation between the decks. The two big things we'd have to change is we have to change the top end. We have to make room for some number of these and these. I mean, this is legendary, so the second one doesn't do anything. These are also legendary in a way, so I think the hard part would be, like, we'd have to build it backwards, right? We'd want to look at rock and then like several rock lists, figure out, okay, where are the flex slots? Maybe it's the main deck Last Hope, right? Lily of the Veil, that makes sense to me, 3 or 4, sure. Goif, 3 or 4, sure. Ooze, 2 to 3, sure. I'm with you on a lot of these numbers, and like a lot of these I probably wouldn't change either. Like 4-2 or 3-3 is pretty standard on the hand hate. Like I wouldn't change all that. But what I would change is maybe cut like this, or cut like the main board Calidus. Maybe cut some of the main board trackers, like the flex spots. Maybe we don't want to play Confidant if we're playing Get Rog Monster, right? Maybe we, instead of playing Confidant, we just stick with tracker. Maybe since we have Get Rog Monster, maybe we want to go a little bit bigger than your traditional. Maybe we want to borrow some technology. Maybe you want to borrow some technology from what is that deck? I'll think of it. Death Cloud. And maybe this combo is better off in like more like a Death Cloud deck anyway, you know, because you're ramping. But maybe we take a page out of that deck, and this will give us some fixing for this card. This will ramp us into these plays. So there's like, we don't have to necessarily, just because the combo is now only 2 colors instead of 3 colors. We don't have to base it on. Yeah, we could do like Death Cloud. Not a fan of the Chameleon Colossuses. Yeah, that's probably not good anymore. But yeah, so something like this. But yeah, like we don't have to. We could base it on more like the Death Cloud decks. Like we don't have to necessarily build it rock. We could go more jank and rampy, and play this as another win condition for the Death Cloud deck. Death Cloud sounds like a bad card. We played against Death Cloud ramp the other day. It's just like, it's like Pox. It plays, but it's just a different take on Pox, basically. I mean, you're playing Garrick and stuff. But anyway, I'd probably first try to build it as like a more mid-rangey rock. Like I'd borrow, like I'd literally just borrow this part of the deck, and then change up the creature suite a little bit. Because we don't have to close games out the same way. Like if with a combo that goes, makes more or less as many bears as we need to kill them, more or less, unless there's not much of our deck left. We don't need as many, like, hey, like I need this many creature threats, like I have to have them, right? So we might skimp on like Confidant just because we're going a little bit bigger mana wise. We might skimp on, probably not Tarmogoyf. And Ooze, like I'd probably keep these, and maybe we skimp on the others. Skimp on the greedy Last Hope Lily. Maybe don't run like random main board brutality. Stuff like that. We skimp on that, mana base changes, and all of a sudden you have this rock deck that has this oops, we win. We don't have to play any ramp either. It could just be like, alright, well, if we drew this, extra lands we draw, we can turn to something useful, and then drop the frog, we win. But I don't think, like, even with me cutting all these different ideas, like sure, like I think at some level, I mean, you can even take it a step deeper. What's that one card? It's look top enchantment. I'm just thinking like ways that we could run fewer of the frogs and influencers, but still have the ability to piece the combo together. What is it? Crufix? Crufix's Insight? I'm thinking of the 2-mana one. It would play nicely with Tarmogoyf too, because it puts things in the yard. Not this one. Different spell. Top 5? Enchantment. It's like creature or enchantment. What about the Centaur? It's not the card I'm thinking of. Oh, Corsair Crufix is cool. But I wasn't thinking of Corsair Crufix. But yeah, Crufix is cool. I mean, true, with Gitrog Monster, maybe we should kind of borrow some of the technology from the Night of the Reliquary decks. That also give us the ability to search for salvage, by the way. Um, I mean, that's the other thing is we can't really be a Field of Ruin deck with yeah, I appreciate you, Shrex. The problem with Field of Ruin is this needs triple green. So at the same time, like one of the big reasons to be Rock is you get to play 3, maybe even 4 Field of Ruin. Um, so we kind of because we have these triple. I'm trying to think of like a weird janky way we fix that. We play like Urborg and a bunch of Twilight Mire, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, all right, we're going too deep just to try to filter the Field of Ruin into green. But it's something interesting to think about, to brew about. Yeah, I mean, or we could just splash white, play knight. I'm trying to think if there are other reasons white would be good for us. But yeah, there's a card that would piece this combo together in green, if I can remember it. Look, top, library, enchantment. Quantity 0, yep. That's not the wording. It's not look. Maybe it's only the top 4. Enchant or creature. It's enchantment or creature. It's going to be pretty far down because it is older. Green. Sorcery. Yes. Well, Satyr can't find enchantments. And I don't know how much room we'd have for just straight up just sitting there just yeah, commune. Yeah, we all know what card I'm talking about. We just none of us could remember what it was called. So like as you add more like filtering like this is top 5. Then we can start to run fewer. This doesn't find salvage. Actually, it does because it puts. This is actually perfect for this combo, and the reason is it either just finds monster or influence, or it just puts salvage into the graveyard, which is where we want it anyway. Um, we just have to see salvage. So this card's actually literally probably if we were to play a deck manipulation card for this strategy, it's probably the perfect card because it finds all 3 pieces, right? It puts this in the yard or it just gives us this or this. And then I'm interested in maybe playing fewer copies of each. Like if we load up on commune, then I feel like we can drop copies on some of these pieces. I might only just play a couple of each piece, you know, and then maybe like 2, maybe 3 salvage because it's kind of just incorporated into the mana base. So like as we add more of these, I'm comfortable maybe going down on these other pieces, especially since they're both kind of more or less legendary, you know. Like influence, you don't really want to see a second one. Same could be said about the Gitrog Frog. Maybe you play 3 frogs, 3 salvage, and only 2 influence is maybe the split. So somehow you got to squeeze in. I mean, we're not going to count these because they're part of our mana base, but you somehow have to squeeze in about 9 cards that are going to be different from, whatever shell you decide to go with. Whether that is something like I mean, maybe you play an Urborg anyway, but something like stock, um, black green. We kind of get to borrow. The benefit of going with that as our shell is we kind of get to borrow how they have evolved recently for the metagame. We kind of get to borrow some of their sideboard plans and stuff. That's kind of the issue with going with a Death Cloud shell is, yeah, I appreciate you guys trying to help me find the card, Shrax. We got there. Just took some time. Let's see how this curves. And these are tap lands, so I want to put them in our ones. So already our curve is awful. We have to flesh this out. I mean, like from there, we would probably just start by borrowing what's working for green-black decks that are currently winning, and yeah, move from there. I'm a little tired though, so I don't know if I want to actually flesh this out on camera or with you guys tonight. With Gitrog out, the cycle lands we'll draw to. Oh yeah, the new Horizon lands. Or draw. I don't remember the name of the green black one. Yeah, so like the new Horizon lands maybe. Some number of them. I don't remember the name of the green black one. Were you talking about Peatland, or were you just saying we should be playing the cycling lands? You're trying to figure out that plane-bound deck? Oh, I'm sure that's very much a Melfina deck. We'd probably still be better off with Peatland. So yeah, I mean, you can play like a couple of Peatlands. I wouldn't play more than two. What were they playing for? They're playing 4 Blooming Marsh. And I wouldn't play more than 1 or 2 Field of Ruin just because it kind of ruins influence. So this at most would be like a 2 of. But cycling lands are just actual, just straight up. Why don't we play Ramunap Ruin? Yeah, like we could like borrow some of the technology from, we could go more like some of the lands, like style, like Courser of Crewfix, Tireless Tracker, Ramunap Excavator, maybe even Splash White instead of going like worrying so much about being like the rock decks and play like do like the lands thing. I mean, Knight technically ramps you. Something interesting to think about. I saw, I think I saw it on here. There was like kind of a throwback to like the Value Town kind of. I don't remember how far back it was on the list, but there was like people messing around with like the Courser Crewfix Value Town old school like green white. So you splash black and all of a sudden we have this combo. Yeah, Coral Helm combo is something people were doing. That's sweet. I could have sworn I saw it. White Green Devotion. What? Sounds interesting. Yeah. No, it's just the Devoted Company. Is the combo. Yeah. Like White Green Devotion, that seems weird. Usually when you go on in and on a devotion deck, it's gonna be one color. Alright, yeah, this is sweet. Different take on the combo. Yeah, I was trying to find sorry to scroll so quick, but I could have sworn I saw. Yeah, here we go. Green white control. That's not really what it is. Oh, maybe it is. Weird. This is bizarre looking. I love it. Huh. It has a ton of blast zone. Wow. Huh. This is a brew and a half. Mana Tithe, Ruined Halo command deck. Huh. There's a real brew right here. This is a real brew right here. It's a 5-0 too. All right. Maybe there's something to this. I think that one was your favorite deck of the night. That is a very much a Jade deck. It's like fun sometimes to like dig deep down and see like some of the stuff going on. I could have sworn like we could model ourselves a little bit after like an Abzan deck too. Oh, here we go. Well, green white taxes. That was the Kieran deck we found the other day. More Abzan examples. I'm just trying to see if there was like I could have sworn I saw like a Value Town deck. I think I passed over it. I think I did pass over it. Naya. I could have sworn I saw like a Knight of the Reliquary deck doing the things. Here we go. Oh, Scholar? This is interesting. Huh. Here we go. Well, not quite. Like a value vial deck. There we go, Excavator. Okay, we finally found one. It's got like a Zuza and stuff. So this is kind of like what we could also model ourselves a little bit after and just like splash a tiny bit of black. You get access to... Then we would have access to Trophy and the Gitrog combo. And you could use Knight to search for... Knight to search for the Dredgeland. This would be cool too. Except it's a company build. Gitrog Frog wouldn't really be happy with that. But this is like something I was thinking about. Like, yeah, like straight up Azusa, Courser, Crewfix kind of style. Well, just take out company and put in the combo pieces. I wish it was that simple. There's a lot of fun stuff you can get with Knight now, like with Blast Zone being a thing. It's kind of cool. I mean, that's the thing about a card like Knight of the Reliquary. They're always going to print, you know, there's always going to be some new lands that get printed and they just break the card. Not break it, but just give it more options is what I mean. It's always fun to think about cards like that. Yeah, so this is like the closest to what I was thinking, like Excavator, Tracker style. Straight up Azusa. The Dramoka's command is spicy. I still, in a lot of ways, would rather do like a commune build, but commune with the gods also plays nicely with Lingering Souls. I mean, we could do more like instead of bothering, because like I think the Field of Ruins would really hurt the whole Iula's influence plan. Like maybe we should do like an Abzan. And not do field. Like the mana base would change quite a bit. Abzan plays the white as a splash anyway. I'm just curious if like Abzan would be something cool to do. This wasn't exactly the kind of Abzan I was thinking though. I was thinking more like stock, like Lingering Souls style. I feel like Lingering Souls is solid at the moment. But it's just interesting to think about. I mean, like the new set definitely cracks open some new ideas. This is just one that I had. And like, I mean, is it on the conservative side? Yeah, I mean, it's like it's enabled a combo for. Oh, I just found the same one. Enabled a combo in an archetype we've tried before, just different colors. Oh, Abzan Company, interesting. I'm still thinking like Lingering Souls style. Is this the one? See Fulminator Mage. Still no. Whoa, Shriekmaw. Hello. I'm excited about this. Nissa Plague Crafter. I'm still kind of confused. Like, what's the sitch here? Huh. Okay. I figured it out. It's Soren's minus X. This is a cool take on Abzan. Yeah, Soren as a grindy unearth. Speaking of which, unearth, right? We saw somebody brewing around with the new Pyromancer with it we just played against, which was sweet. This is a cool little diddly do. Soren, huh? Yeah, I mean, he starts at 4 loyalty, goes up to 6, and then you can minus him the next turn and get something back. Seems sweet. Ended up being a 5-0, but it was like a one-off. So, like, it's sad to see like some of these lists, like they'll spike. You'll see him spike it, and then you just never see them again, and you're like, oh. Like maybe he just went up against a bunch of blue white, and there's 2 chokes in his sideboard, 3 Stony Silence. You know. Yeah, I can get behind the Nissa. You know what I mean, chat? Like that's the thing is like you see something spicy like this, and you're like, oh man, like I want to do that, except then it's like, oh, not as good as we thought. But it's just a thought. Just because we're playing Commune, like this would be sweet to hit. I don't know. Let's just do our own thing. We've seen lots of ideas. I know I said I was gonna go to bed and we weren't gonna flesh this out tonight, but it's already late. Might as well just finish. So Goofies, Tarma Goofies, trophies. So yeah, excuse me, Assassin's Trophy. 2, 3, 4. Fatal Push. Nope. We've already looked at plenty of lists. I think I know where I want to go with this. Goif is at an all-time low. Oh, I'm sure. That doesn't surprise me. Thoughtseize. Oh, we're not going to play a ton of pushes. We're going to play a split of this and Path. What am I doing? If we're going to go Abzan. Oh, I should play the ones I have. Thoughtseizes. Yeah, I mean, the nice things that white gives us out of the main board is just Path and Souls, really. And then post board, you know, you're looking at your Stony Silences, you're looking at kind of like Kambal, actually. You get Kambal, you get things like Kaya. Guile is interesting. So there's some fun new cards to play with in this color combination. So you get some lilies up in here. Yeah, this is sweet. Sacrifice or or exile the graveyard and or Make a token and or gain life. And then the entwine on this is crazy. You get all the different modes. This is a sweet, sweet card. Yeah, something like this. It's maybe where I would start. Just Goyfs, Souls, Lilies, removal, hand disruption, and then the combo. I think Ooze is well positioned. At least 2 Oozes. So a couple of Ooze. I kind of like how that curves. Obviously, we got to flesh out a mana base. So it might not be obviously as simple as this, and maybe we only get to play 2 salvage. I mean, again, with all these communes, and we're deciding to go like a more grindy path. Maybe you just want to play 2 of all the different legend pieces. You'll piece the combo together less often, but these are all essentially legendary. Like once we find one or the other, like we don't need the other pieces, and commune hopefully can piece it together. I mean, commune can also find other things for us, right? Post board, it'll find the stonies. Maybe we want to make it so we can benefit from looking for creatures and enchantments. Like you could play like Bitter Blossom potentially. Other creatures or enchantments we could play that could help us find Fulminator Mages. Like I do kind of like curving into like a sideboard card, like Commune into Campbell or Commune into Stony, Commune into Calidus. The Fulminators. Like there's cool stuff to be had there. It's a lot of extra fatal push. We should be playing some collective brute. Kai could even be main deck. Hey, what's up, Tribble? Needs 4 plow under. What about something like Eternal Witness? You're not crazy, Jade. You're not crazy. Or, sorry, that's not crazy. That's what I mean to say. Should maybe just have one in the sideboard. Changed my mind. What's my graveyard hate look like? These decks usually play Nile Spellbomb. But that's the joke. Only you and I know that. Yeah. I don't know. We'd have to mess around with it. Maybe because you have dig, we only play 2 stonies. So we can dig to it. But this definitely changes like card for card, like how the deck is configured for sure. But I like that there's a lot of synergy here, right? Like this has good synergy in a Goyf Lingering Souls deck already. This helps find the combo. And it'll also find Ooze. Actually, it's got fine synergy for Ooze too. We can like turn over other things to exile to this. But also, it'll find some of these sideboard cards, right? It'll find these or this. Or if we are going to play something like a Greedy Bitter Blossom, it'll find that. It'll find the Campbells. It'll find Calidus. So there's some cool build around potential. Obviously, it slows our deck down quite a bit, right? But it gives us a lot of selection that these Abzan or Rock decks or whatever you want to call it just don't normally have. With Lily Twilight, I actually kind of want to run the Urborg after all. I think I do. Maybe we still don't. The Fulminator Mage is also black. Maybe we do. See, I just don't think I should run field if I'm going to be playing Play bomb versus bog. I'm just thinking what color like our mana needs to look. Like it's kind of awkward with the triple green. It's like you want to play Temple Garden, but Garden doesn't cast turn one hand hate. Like you kind of want it to be a Temple Garden deck, don't you? Like you want it to be a Temple Garden overgrown tomb. Yeah, this would be kind of tough to balance. I mean, I'm trying to, like, I think we still play a bunch of Blooming Marshes. I mean, fleshing out the mana base is like the last thing I want to do. Verdant, sweet. I actually have a playset of these now, which is sweet. Thanks to you guys. That was a generous donation. Verdant's, Marsh Flats. We got Split of Flats and Windswept. That's too many fetches though, right? It would be like 7 fetch. This might even still be too many fetch. For Abzan, I don't know how many of the Pain lands you'd even play. I mean, like there's Canopy. There's also the new one. I mean, white's just our splash, right? It doesn't mean I wouldn't play a Singleton Plains, but white's just the splash. It's for some sideboard cards, Path, and Souls. Everything else is going to be green-black. We should play one Godless Shrine. But yeah, I'm probably going to go to bed now, guys. But this has been fun kind of throwing together, brewing around this. I know we only ended up playing 2 in the deck, but... Oh, well also, I mean, like, this is a sweet Kai's Guile deck. I mean, maybe we just main deck both of these, because, like, these are... This is just really flexible. Maybe we want to do that instead. Card is just really flexible. I mean, I think the major reason being the fact that it hits graveyards. So that's a 22 land deck. It's just probably a 23 land deck to get the monster. Especially since Commune can't take land, which is going to suck. Let's see, Urborg Mire, Salvage, bunch of marshes. I mean, do we want to play any lands? Do we want to play any manland? Could play like Hissing Quagmire since we're a Liliana deck. Play like Quags. I like Hissing Quagmire because it kind of like it's one of the more underrated manlands, but it's like you've got a removal spell rolled up into your mana base. Play a couple of these. I know they usually play a split, right? They play but I think the colors are like with both of these being in the deck, I feel like the colors are going to really matter. If we're going to play a utility like creature land, probably should be 2-colored. That Death Touch matters an awful lot. See, that's my thought too, because like some of the other creature lands kind of get dwarfed in the late game, but like Quagmire, unless the creature's like flying or unblockable or whatever, is usually relevant in the late game. So maybe something like this where white is just a hint, right? Like the white is very minimal, right? It's 13 cards. Everything else is green, black. So this probably would work. Just for an initial build, not anything more than that or sophisticated. I mean, you could go deeper with the Commune. You could like be doing what he was doing with the Sorens, right? We saw that, and like go deeper and play like straight up. We don't have it anymore, do we? Yeah, like play like. I mean, the Shriek Maw is kind of nice actually, right? Or like what the other guy was doing. Like we could go more into cards that we can select off of the commune, but that just adds a lot to our costs. Um, excuse me, just in general. But we've got like a lot of main deck exile effect going on. Like if we're gonna play it this way, right? I mean, six hand hate is pretty normal, to be honest. We might just want to do that, and then maybe the second Guile does go into the sideboard after all. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of also wanted to have a Liliana in the sideboard, which I didn't make room for because we were trying greedy cards. Maybe we don't want the rando fatal push at all. I don't even know if we need it. But yeah, I mean, you're Abzan because you like Stony. You're Abzan because you like Path. We want to test the new Kaya cards. Um, you're white because Lingering Souls, right? So I mean, like, there's clear reasons why to go with a white splash. Like some of these powerful sideboard cards. I mean, you could even play. Not that we need to, because we've already got Trophy, but like there's Celestial Purge to consider. I don't think I would, because like I think we're white just for this 6 sideboard and this 8 main. So this could be cool. Bear Force, Gitrog, Abzan. All right, guys. Well, we brewed like a bunch of different decks that could come from Horizon. Oh yeah, I mean the mana's awful. Let's see. There's tons of people just drafting it. Ooh, hang on.
The watcher back to block.
I am excited. I'm gonna host over to this guy. He's playing Saheeli combo with some of the new Modern Horizon cards. I will see you on the next Bruce by the Magic Guy. Say hello for me. Grizzly Salvage? Oh, Grizzly Salvage is what we should be doing instead. I feel like I still would rather play Commune because Commune finds Ayula's influence. But yeah, Grizzly Salvage. Yeah. It's also a top 5. So yeah, top 5, top 5. This gives us creature or land. But Commune gives us creature or enchantment. But yeah, I mean, we could like play this as a fun of. No, I mean, the instant speed is definitely relevant in the format, right? We could hold up a removal spell or we could do this. I think the reason I play Commune is just the fact that we're playing Influence. Not even necessarily like these greedy sideboard enchantments, you know? Like it's more about the fact that we want to be able to draw to Influence, I think. But thank you for looking into that for us, Trax. Yeah. I feel like Salvage is cool for like those budget like Siege Rhino Reanimator decks. But anyway, I'm gonna host over to this guy because this deck looks sweet. It's a Jeskai Saheeli combo. You're not gonna be disappointed, chat. I'll see ya. Yeah, have a night. Yeah, thank you for that wish, Melfina. Same to you, Jade. Have a good night. I'll see you guys. Just gotta get his name. Yeah, but say hello from me. Yeah, exactly, and being able to find these sideboard cards, exactly. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next show. Good night.